The bookstore smelled like old paper and unfinished thoughts. Nadia sat cross-legged on the floor of the poetry aisle, back against the lowest shelf. She wore a faded lavender oversized sweatshirt with the sleeves rolled up, wide-leg black linen pants, and beat-up white platform sneakers. Her locks were half-pinned with a butterfly clip, the rest falling loose around her face. Behind her, the wall was plastered with handwritten staff recommendations on yellow sticky notes. Outside, the sky was doing that thing where it could not decide between rain and gray. She was pretending to read. Ethan found the aisle by accident. He had the energy of someone who never walked into anything by accident. Fitted dark olive trench coat, black turtleneck, tailored dark wash jeans, fresh tan suede boots. His jaw was tight. His eyes moved fast, like he was scanning exits in every room he entered. He looked like someone who had been trusted with something important once and had not recovered from it. He looked at the book in her hand. "That one wrecked me," he said. She did not look up. "Cool. I mean it genuinely. Not trying to start anything." She looked up then. People who say they are not trying to start anything always start something. He sat on the floor across from her like she had invited him. She had not. They ended up talking for 30 minutes about the difference between grief and guilt, and which one stayed longer. It was Nadia who said grief fades. It was Ethan who went quiet after that. She noticed. She did not say anything about it. But she noticed. 3 weeks later, they were not dating. They were just always there. Ethan started showing up at the community art space where Nadia volunteered every Thursday. He would sit at the back with a sketchbook he barely used, pretending he was there for the open studio hours. She would walk past him in her rust-colored knit cardigan, high-waisted wide-leg gray trousers, and worn-in brown loafers, carrying supplies, not stopping but always slowing down near him. Her studio corner was chaotic in the best way. Canvases layered against the walls, a string of warm Edison bulbs above her work table, dried flowers tucked into empty paint jars. It felt like the inside of her head. One evening, she was cleaning brushes when he asked her something out of nowhere. "Do you think someone can change for real, or are they just suppressing who they actually are?" She turned around slowly. "That is a weird question for a Thursday. I have been thinking about it." "About yourself or about someone else?" He looked at the sketchbook. "Both." She sat down on the stool across from him and studied his face. "Who did you suppress yourself for?" He did not answer. But his hands stopped moving. And that said everything. It came out on a rainy Saturday at her apartment. Nadia was in an oversized vintage band tee, plaid flannel pants, and thick knit socks, sitting sideways on her couch. Polaroids covered one whole wall above the radiator. His jacket was on her coat hook like it had decided to live there. He was telling a story about his old creative agency when she said the name. "So what actually happened with Priya?" The room shifted. Ethan set his mug down on the coffee table with too much control. "Where did you hear that name?" "Around. She was your business partner. She built half of what made your agency credible, and then you let her get pushed out without saying a word publicly. People know. People know a version. Then tell me yours." He stood up. Walked to the window. Outside, the rain had gotten serious about itself. "It was not that simple," he said. "It never is, with people who stayed quiet. I was protecting something. Her. Because it did not look like her." He turned around and his eyes were doing something complicated. "I was protecting something I should not have been protecting. And I have known that every day since." Nadia looked at him for a long moment. "That is almost an apology." "Almost," he said quietly. She pulled her knees to her chest and looked at the wall of Polaroids instead of him. Neither of them spoke for a long time. And she did not ask him to leave. The betrayal came from somewhere neither of them expected. Ethan's former business partner, the one who had originally pushed Priya out, resurfaced with a story. He fed it to a media outlet. It named Ethan as the one who had orchestrated the whole thing, painting Priya as unstable and erasing her contributions. None of it was true in the way it was being told. But some of it was built on real things Ethan had actually said in private, things that had been twisted and time-stamped out of context. Nadia found out before Ethan did. She had a source. A journalist friend. She got the call at 11 p.m. while Ethan was asleep on her couch with his shoes still on, like someone who had finally let himself rest somewhere. She sat in the kitchen in the dark for 20 minutes. She could have called her journalist friend back and given him the real context. The full version. The part that would have reframed everything in Ethan's favor. But doing that meant sharing something Ethan had told her in a private moment, something vulnerable, something he had never said publicly. It would clear him. It would also expose a part of him he had only shown her. She made the call. She gave the context. She protected him without asking him first. When the story ran the next morning, it was softer. Less damaging. More complicated. Ethan woke up to his phone going off and read through everything slowly. Then he looked at her. You talked to someone. Yes. You gave them private information. About me. Without asking me. I gave them the truth. That was not your truth to give. Nadia did not flinch. No. It was yours. And you were not going to give it. He stood there holding his phone and looking at her like she was something he could not quite name. You should have asked me, he said. You would have said no. Yes. And you would have let them bury you. He had no answer for that. She picked up her keys off the counter. I am going to be late. Lock up when you leave. She walked out. He stayed in her kitchen alone, and the sunlight coming through the window felt like a verdict. She did not hear from him for 9 days. Nadia went back to the bookstore on a Tuesday. Same poetry aisle. Same floor. Different sweatshirt, soft gray this time, black wide-leg joggers, fresh white sneakers. She was not waiting. She was genuinely not waiting. He showed up anyway. He sat down across from her on the floor, same way he had the first time. He did not have a book. He just looked at her. I went to Priya, he said. Nadia looked up. I flew out there. Told her everything. Publicly. Posted it myself, no PR, no framing. Just the actual account of what happened and what I did and did not do. How did that go? She cried. I cried. It was genuinely not cinematic at all. His voice cracked a little. She said she had been waiting 3 years for that. Nadia exhaled slowly. You did that for you, she said. Not for me. Yes, he said. You helped me see it was the only option left. But yeah. For me. Good. That is the only version of it that actually counts. He leaned his head back against the shelf. I am sorry I said what I said. About the information. You were trying to protect me. I crossed a line. You crossed a line because you care. I know the difference. He looked at her. I am not used to people doing things for me that are not about them. Get used to it. Something moved through his face that he did not try to hide. Outside, the sun was actually doing something for once. Coming through the store window in long warm rectangles across the floor. The kind of light that does not ask for anything. They did not label it that day. They did not need to. Some things are too real for a title. The end.